What's up, Chris? Congrats on signing up for a brand review. Excited to get into this. Your website is www.rivertech.co. Your Instagram is rivertech_fish. You represent PNW Fishing, Pacific Northwest Fishing. I myself like to go fishing all the time, and a lot of my brand actually has to do with fishing, so I completely understand, the fishing culture. How many orders do you receive every month? You've put 27, so I assume maybe your most recent month you did 27 orders. And let's crack into it. So the way that I want to start out this review here is first by giving you some compliments on what I really like about the brand, and then I'm going to give you some feedback, and I'm going to give you some really actionable advice here because I've gone through everything already, and I have some things that I want to share with you that I know you can put in place immediately for your brand, and you should start to notice some changes, okay? So the first thing that I want to mention here as a compliment to your brand is that your brand has a lot of heart to it, okay? I can tell just by looking through the pictures and your Instagram account, even the pictures that you have as your product images on your website, that they're so raw, and it really is somebody who started a brand around something that they love, and you can just tell when you look at your Instagram account, when you look at your website, okay? And people absolutely love that. It's the same thing that has to do with my brand, right? Like, we share a lot of content that is consumer generated. So basically they buy our products and they share their pictures wearing it, and that's the best content sometimes to post on your Instagram account. And I absolutely love that about your brand, okay? So that's the compliment that I wanted to give you, and I suggest that you keep that up, keep the heart there, keep the passion, and keep that authenticity. As much as your clothing brand is really raw and authentic, there are definitely a bunch of areas that you can clean up and tighten up, okay? And this will have a massive effect on how people are perceiving your brand in terms of how professional you seem and how much they're actually willing to trust your brand, and they feel like they're buying into a brand that's legit and that's thriving, okay? Because as much as your brand is authentic right now, it's really coming across as still being, sort of in that phase where you're just getting started and you're just sort of trying to make it. And you really want to make the appearance of your brand here look a little bit more like you have everything together, professional designs everywhere, and where everything is super tight, okay? And what I want to focus on here is your website mainly. So hopping over to your website here, I'm just going to give you a bunch of different suggestions in terms of things that I'd change and things that I'd fix, and you can really decide what you want to do here. But for example, on your homepage here with this pop-up, this is great. I like that you're trying to collect emails here, but get hooked up with promos and updates. It really doesn't make sense why promos is the only one that has a capital P there. And this can really just be tighter. I really like the image here of this girl, and it really works, but the writing could be a little bit cleaner, and you could really think of something a little bit tighter to say here that really just is a lot easier to read, easier to understand, and that really makes you come across as more professional. The pictures on your homepage, right at the top of the homepage, are really nice. They're really high quality pictures, but they don't really do anything for your website visitors other than just be pictures. Right? What I'd do here is I'd integrate some sort of design into your homepage where it actually allows them to shop right from the center of your homepage, like right when they get to your homepage. Maybe you have deals on hoodies, or maybe you have deals on tees or something like that, or even on fishing gear, and you can really just have a blurb here that links directly to a page where people are able to shop, right? Because right here, there's basically no call to action. They show up to your website and they're like, all right, these pictures are really nice, but where do I go? And even if you scroll down here, it's just your Instagram account, and there's no product images, there's no featured products, and it'd be really nice if you offered the ability to shop directly from your homepage. I think that you'd notice a lot more conversions that way, because when people realize that they have to click through your website to finally get to the products before actually seeing at all what it is that you really offer, it can be kind of frustrating. When I click on shop at the top in your menu, this is all right. It doesn't look too bad. I think that you could definitely improve the design here. And one thing that I noticed here is actually when I click on shirts, it brings me right back to your homepage, okay? And that's definitely something that you'll need to fix. And there's a couple little things like that that I've noticed on your website that you just really need to go through your website deeper and make sure that there's no errors like that, okay? Because if somebody comes to your website and they want to check out your shirts, which is probably the most common thing that people are going to go to are your shirts, and they realize that they actually can't get to that page from that link, and they can only get there from this drop-down menu, that can be something that really deters them from wanting to buy from you, really deters them from wanting to trust your brand, because it shows that you haven't really covered all the angles yet. And obviously, you know, people make mistakes like this all the time. You may have just not noticed it, but these are the types of things that you definitely want to be aware of. Just hopping onto your About Us page here real quick, I have some suggestions for you. So you say fishing is more than a hobby, it's a lifestyle. That's all right, I don't have any problems with that. And then you say, we want a company that embodies our love for the sport. I changed this to, we are a company that embodies our love for the sport. And you say, we grew up enjoying rivers, lakes, and the ocean, and now the future of our sport is in danger and threatened. We want to give back to what gives us freedom from everyday stress. The only issue that I have with this is that it sounds like you're donating a certain percentage of your profits to give back because the sport is in danger and threatened, okay? So I think that this can be misinterpreted easily as you're giving back by donating a certain percentage of your profits. And it doesn't appear that you're actually doing that because obviously you haven't mentioned it here, and that's entirely okay if you're not doing that, but I'm worried that people might interpret it that you are when you're actually not, okay? So there's definitely a way to just really express the heart and soul of your brand here and express the value in your brand and the authenticity of your brand without actually, you know, creating this sort of misinterpretation that could take place, or this ambiguity that I'm experiencing when I read it for the first time. You have a page here with your patents on it. I don't mind that page, but what I'd do is I'd take this patents page off the top of your website and I just include it in the footer of your website, because I don't think that this is a main heading, and I don't think that people are really getting anything out of this other than maybe just learning a little bit more about your brand if they wanted to in the footer of your website, okay? So I'd just stick to keeping the main parts of your website up here, the parts where people can actually shop and learn about you, and maybe a contact us page, but I don't think it's necessary to have your patents page up here. This also goes for this more section. I think most of these can be included in the footer of your website and don't necessarily need to be at the top of your website. It kind of just adds a bit of clutter up here, okay? So just what I recommend, this isn't a huge deal obviously, is to just sort of have it so that it's really just a shopping experience up here, and all this other stuff that's sort of technical about your brand, you can just throw it into the footer as a link to the pages, but you don't necessarily need it in the header. Checked out your Instagram account. Instagram account looks great, and I love that you're sharing the customers that you have and their pictures, and they're tagging you in pictures. That's amazing. I would say that you want to focus on posting only the highest quality of those pictures. And obviously, you know, if you're only getting tagged in a certain amount, then you only have a certain amount to work with, and that's what you just need to work with for now. But focus on really trying to meet a standard of quality when it comes to the posts that you're making on Instagram. So basically, I just want to leave you with the main way that I feel like you're going to improve, the main way that I feel like your clothing brand is going to get to the next level is by just fixing those small details, okay? The little details, how people are experiencing your website, the design on your website, the flow of your website, and those little details that make all the difference, because I think that your brand has an audience, you know who you are, you know exactly what your niche is, and clearly you're able to make sales, but it's just tightening up and making everything a bit cleaner. And I think that when you do that, you're going to notice a lot more people are willing to buy from you because they're trusting you more, and you're going to notice a lot more orders coming in, all right? So congrats on signing up for this brand review, and I'm excited to see where you end up in, you know, the next year or so, all right? Peace.